Back inside the Parisi Palace, high above 2919 East Broadway. This is the Jake Feinberg Show, coming to you live on Power Talk 1210. We are full on extraterrestrial radio, streaming worldwide. Thank you so much for being part of the program today. And it is my honor now to bring in one of the most gifted trombone players and singers in the world, the guy who's flown below the radar but has played with a lot of cats and has had a very decorated career. Curtis Sonny Fowlkes, welcome to the Jake Feinberg Show.
Thank you, Jake.
How are you, brother?
Oh, I'm good. You know, just taking in the birthday vibes.
Yeah, happy birthday, Curtis Sonny Fowlkes, man. I mean, I'm so happy to be able to provide this outlet for you. Tell me a little bit about Tell me a little bit about how you feel about how your career has unfolded as you sit here today on your birthday.
Well, very interesting, because I was looking through some of the things connected to birthday, and somebody put the track from This Land, Bill Frisell's CD,
Mm-hmm.
from a little back in the days, and the track called Dog Eat Dog. And it really kind of brought to mind like that period, and to think from there, I mean, it was in the 90s. It wasn't like it was, you know.
It wasn't 100 years ago.
100 years ago,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes. But still, it was kind of refreshing to hear and think about Bill, you know, who's actually had birthday was the day before mine. So thinking about that, you know, I curved it, you know, based on where things are now. And I just got off a tour, so I'm feeling, you know, a lot of things connected to meeting new people, playing with new people, and coming around again as, you know, as a trombone player to like a new round of musicians, and one of the older musicians now as opposed to a younger one.
I was going to ask you if you could talk about, you know, it's funny. I walk in to the record shop the other day, and there's a brass construction record with Curtis Fowlkes on it from '75. I wanted to talk to you about the first gig you ever had.
Mm-hmm.
What was your first professional gig?
Actually, I was, I'm from Brooklyn. I still live here, and coming up in the '60s, as a teenager, there was not a lot of opportunities for, you know, young horn players outside of R&B and well, we didn't call it salsa back then. We called it Latin music.
Mm-hmm.
But what was also beginning to happen was a kind of like emergence of the boogaloo scene. I don't know if you know much about that.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, okay. So my first gigs, meaning some guys in Brooklyn, in fact, great bass player named Alex Blake.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we were in high school together. In fact, I met Alex while we were in high school, and we started this band, not Alex and I, but we had a band going in the neighborhood, mainly in Brownsville, Brooklyn. So we needed a bass player, and I saw and heard about Alex Blake. And Alex is originally from Panama, so his Latin, you know, influences. His father was a weekend warrior. You know, he had a band, was a horn player. So Alex came. He was willing to come and check our band out, and we started to kind of grow from there. And that was my first gigs. And we used to play in the factories sometimes for like Puerto Rican workers.
Sure.
You know, they would like have a little affair in the factory. You know, like a little catering going, and they would bring a band in, and we'd play for $20. You know, a man. In fact, that $20 seemed to be like almost a stable kind of payment for most of the gigs at that time. At
Can we get a year on this?
Oh, you're talking about like 1966.
Okay, so this is so important because, I mean, you do any research on Curtis Sonny Fowlkes, and the first album that there's any year given credit for is the Stanley Cowell album nearly 10 years later, and I knew that you went back to this. I mean, you know, I know you just used the word boogaloo, and can you talk about the amount, what that band with Blake, the instrumentation of the band, and who else was in it?
Okay. Yeah, well, we had three horns. We had a trumpet, Greg Calhoun, and Lenny Rogers played the other trombone. I don't know if you know his brother,
Barry.
Actually, Kenny Rogers.
Oh, Kenny Rogers. I don't know that cat. No.
Yeah, he used to play with Rasan. He played baritone.
Wow.
And he was with the Loud Minority, Frank
Foster's band. Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
But his younger brother was a trombone player. Was like a year ahead of me in high school. So when I started to play trombone, I started in 7th grade. He was in the grade above me, and the person a grade above him was another trombone player named Billy Campbell. They used to call him Soupy. And he ended up playing with Thad and Mel for a while, and also in the Latin scene in the 70s, in the 60s. So we had a little lineage of local school trombonists, you know. So I had a little direction kind of earlier. And so our horn section was 2 trombones and trumpet. And like I said, Alex Blake was on bass. Johnny Berdiger, who's a conga player. In fact, I just played with him recently with Dave Chamberlain's Band of Bones. I don't know if you know this group.
No.
All trombone band. But yeah, so Johnny Vertigo, the timbali player, was a guy named Cholo Rivera. He was kind of functioning as a leader. And a singer named Billy. See, the thing about the Boogaloo thing was there was a lot of English. They won the English singing against, kind of Latin Boogaloo grooves. So
no, I did. Who was there no trap set? It was just timbales?
No trap set, yeah, timbales and congas. And bongo percussionists, play cowbell and bongos.
How do you think that affected your ability to? I mean, to me, I'm obsessed with the whole idea of choppy rhythms, and you take the trap set out, and it becomes timbales and Latin percussion. How did it change your ear? How did it help you stretch out your ear?
Well, yeah, I mean, it was definitely a strong influence. I ended up playing a little congas going up into my 20s. In high school, me and Alex and I ended up playing congas for dance classes at the high school where we went. First of all, the girls were in the dance classes, so that was some impetus for us to do that.
Of course, baby. Yeah, no, I dig.
Yeah, it was a.
But I mean, it wasn't in 4/4 time, right? I mean, it just was not straight ahead.
Yeah, most of the Boogaloo stuff was 4/4 time.
Really? Okay. So it wasn't.
We used to switch over to we do a cover of "Crisis" by Art Blakey.
I love it. I love it.
Kind of like mambo style. And we would do things where we break into like 6/8 rhythms. We go Afro and But we ended up getting a deal with Cotique Records. I don't know if you remember. The people from Cotique who were connected to. I think Cotique was a spinoff of Morris Levy.
Yeah, are you talking about Cotillion? How do you spell Cotique?
Oh, Cotique, COTIQUE.
Cotique. I got to look this. Okay, so anyway, you guys actually got a record deal.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
And you cut a record.
Yeah, we cut a record in 1960. It's still around. It's called By Cholo, and the band was called Cholo Rivera and the Latin Soul Drives. We used to call ourselves the LSD combo. But guys were like, I don't know if we want to put that LSD. We wear had dashikis and stuff.
Oh, this. See, I knew that Cholo Rivera and the Latin Soul Drives. I knew that. Oh my gosh. So, what? I mean, you would say that when you would have these gatherings, were people? Was there like? Would you say that people were drinking liquid acid at these parties as well?
No, just because we could. There was a lot of reference to acid, like around the Boogaloo period too. Because there was another guy that made this guy from Brooklyn, Earl Coleman, piano player. He made a song called "Liquid Lovin'." And,
Right.
So the Boogaloo scene was kind of referencing the whole tripping aspect of the '60s. So we were like 16, 17, 18, I think we recorded for Cotique, and we recorded at Regent Sound Studios, which is it was this guy Bob Lipkin, who ended up being the Saturday Night Live engineer. He was very good. And we ended up with a song that was a hit on the Symphony Sid charts. Did a ballad called "I Can Never Hurt You, Girl," and
I hear William Scruggs wrote that.
Bill Scruggs,
Billy Scruggs.
Billy Scruggs.
He
was also an engineer. He worked with Sly Stone.
This is unbelievable.
He's on the Fresh album. You know the album Fresh.
Sure. I mean, I can't believe that there's a copy of this for $12. I thought this was at least a couple $100 worth record. Cholo.
Oh yeah, I saw it. I was on tour in. Where were we? There was a record store right across the street in Europe, and I went in there. We were sifting through, and then I saw the LP. And they were selling it. They were selling it kind of high.
Yeah, I bet.
In euros.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is like a bargain basement deal. I'm gonna have to grab this immediately. I mean, are you? You mentioned Art Blakey. I mean, there was a period of those guys, Blakey, Woody Shaw, Elvin Jones, those guys, on top of just being monster players, were also huge talent scouts. And I'm trying to also gather, which one of these luminaries eventually brought you into their band so you could really get comfortable with your own sound on stage, the post Boogaloo.
Never had an opportunity to play with Art Blakey.
What was there? I mean, who would you say is the first jazz cat that you had a chance to mentor under?
Right. That's a good question. Because I ended up passing up on opportunity to play with Doug and Gene Carn by Olu Dara. He brought me information. They said, "Oh, they need a trombonist."
I'm sorry. Wait. Say. I heard Doug and Gene. Who did you just say? Olu Dara?
Olu Dara.
Who's that?
Olu.
No.
Trumpet player. His son is Nas.
Okay.
Rapper.
Okay. Sure. So he came to you and said that Doug and Gene are in need of a trombone player.
Yeah, because I knew him from the Brooklyn. There was I don't know if you ever heard of a workshop here in Brooklyn called the Muse. The New Muse. Bill Barron, Kenny Barron's older brother.
Oh my God! Okay, go ahead.
He was the director of the New Muse. So a lot of us younger cats used to go up there, and that's when we really got kind of closer to some of the musicians of Bill Barron's stature. It was also, because Kenny Kirkland would be there, and
like Walter Booker Jr. and cats like that.
Oh no, Walter Booker. Wow. I did go up to his place, the Booker studio.
Mm-hmm. But this was more of a. I mean, it was the intent of Bill Barron to be able to sort of have this.
Yeah, it was a funded program.
Really? Wow, this is fascinating.
And I know on his faculty he had Reggie Workman and Kiani Zawadi. I don't know if you know him.
Kian Zawadi, Phil, dude, monster. I think he's a bone player. Is he a bone player?
Yeah, he was. I was studying with him, in fact, at the time.
Jesus. I mean,
and then
yeah,
it was like I said, a lot of Vernon Reed was up there as we were all like students there. Kenny Kirkland, Alex. I'm just trying to think of names that, you know.
No, I mean, the other thing is, the scintillating thing is that the time period that you were up there was really the period of post-hard bop and this unbelievable amount of intellectual stuff outside of, I mean, you want to consider that was about as close to academia as you could get. It wasn't the new school. You weren't getting
Right.
You weren't getting a. Can you talk about the education you received at a place like that? Because you know you got cats nowadays where it's like, okay, you go. I mean, it's jazz. I put up a post today from Lou Tabakin who I interviewed 4 years ago. It's just like, you know, it's become an industry. Jazz school, it's become an industry. But can you talk about your experience in what was not an industry, but it clearly was an education?
Right. Yeah, it was the funded programs for the arts, like Jazzmobile, which you probably have heard of. The Jazzmobile Workshop would also be a place where we would go and get direct instruction. I would go there and study with Benny Powell, the trombonist. Occasionally there was a lesson that Curtis Fuller would cover, and Garnett Brown.
Oh, yeah.
And Lee Morgan was there, Jimmy Heath, Billy Mitchell, Joe Newman. And I first had contact with Joe Newman. There was a summer program at Pratt Institute called Campaign Culture. That's where, that even preceded Jazzmobile for me. And that's where I originally met Benny Powell. And he took me under his wing. I mean, I was at the 1967 rehearsal for Nixon's inauguration. I mean, Nixon's campaign rally. Benny Powell took me there to a rehearsal that they were preparing with Lionel Hampton.
Hamp was like he was like part of the Republican National Committee.
Strong Republican, yeah. He was the go-to guy, you know.
He was the go. So you played Nixon's. This was a fundraiser for Nixon.
This was a campaign rally for Nixon.
Unbelievable.
I was tagging along with Benny Powell.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't playing. I was 17 actually at the time.
Right. I mean, can you talk about? I mean, a non-theory based lesson that inspired you by one of the cats you mentioned, whether it was Fuller, or Billy Mitchell, anyone like that. Like, I'm talking about just like thinking about how to expand the language of jazz. Not so much in a theory sense, though. Could you talk about something abstract that inspired you?
Oh, yeah, you know, just being in the circle of musicians and just little things. Like I remember playing in the big band at Jazzmobile. So here you had, you know, like the names I was mentioning, and my friend is sitting there in the hall, whatever. He's just hanging around, and I take a solo somewhere, and then Lee Morgan gets up, and my friend tells he goes to look, see who is playing, you know, and then when I'm leaving, Lee Morgan comes over to me and says, you know, oh, you know, nice solo kid or whatever. You know, I was like over the moon.
Mm-hmm.
And also, right around 68, I saw 67. I went to Slugs for the first time. You know, I was really too young. But the band that was playing there was Freddie Hubbard, the Jazz Communicators. You knew about this band?
I know there was the Jazz Ambassador. I never heard of the Jazz Wait, who was it? Like James Spaulding? Who was in that band?
Yeah, James Spaulding was in there later, but the band that I saw was Joe Henderson, Kenny Barron. I remember he was 24 years old.
Holy cow! Jeez.
Herbie Lewis.
Mm-hmm.
And Louis Hayes.
Oh man!
And it actually was. I found out later it was a cooperative band. You know, I assumed it was Freddie's group. Well, they were playing a lot of Freddie's music, you know. But also, Freddie lived in Brooklyn. He lived in 919 Park Place. It was like to me, it was like a shrine because Freddie lived there and Louis Hayes lived there. And my friend was a drummer that approached Louis about studying with him, and Louis was very gracious, let him come. So we used to trot over there, and I would just be like fly on the wall, Freddie would be playing upstairs in his apartment. He would be playing chess with people and playing his horn at the same time. Just amazing. They were like, everything they did was like so ultra hip and so, they had the finest, women, wives, the highest level of musicianship, and, Slugs was just, to me, I was just floored. I couldn't believe people could have some musical command, So that really kind of blew me away, seeing those guys live. At 17, I wasn't even supposed to be in the club.
Well, I mean, those, those places created some of the most incredible, and thank God it did for our own legacy and lineage. That created some of the best Afro-American music of all time. I want to go back though. So this cat, Nas's father, came in, said, "Hey, Doug is looking for a bone player," and Doug was down in Georgia. Where was Doug?
He was in New York then.
And so
Doug and Jean, she was still with them.
Sure. I mean, they were doing that. They were making really powerful stuff, records on the Black Jazz label.
Right.
And so you chose to pass that up, but
I was afraid. I didn't think I was ready.
Sure, and that's fine. But I mean, after that, when did you get a chance to get on the bandstand with a luminary, a guy that you first saw at a place like Slugs?
Right. Yeah. It was a little bit of time because I ended up going into Gunther Hempel's band, the Galaxy Big Band. I was a little older.
Now, was he in the States or did you go to Europe?
No, he was in the States. He has a place, he probably still does, a place on like 11th Street, East 11th.
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, and you're telling me that was what was it called? The Galactic Big Band?
Yeah.
And did you guys cut an album at all?
Well, I'm trying to think of because there was a period there, he cut Live at Sweet Basil.
Well, and that,
that's 80 already, though.
Yeah, man. I'm talking like before.
70s.
Yeah, no, because here's the thing. It's frustrating, and this is one of the things I like to do with some of the unsung cats is like the discography does not encompass the first. I mean, your career was off the ground before. I mean, we let in with this track off a Stanley Cowell album with you singing.
You know what? I'm really suspicious about that Stanley Cowell. I don't remember anything about that.
It's so bizarre. Then we should straighten it out because it says 75 Curtis Fowlkes on Voices. It says Voices.
I know, and I don't think that's me. I don't remember anything about that.
I guess Stanley might. We can take care of that separately.
Yeah.
But I mean, you turned down Doug, and you're in Gunter. But
that's a long
early 70s. To put me in the early 70s Fowlkes pocket. What were you up to at that point?
Right.
I know I'm stretching you out here.
Yeah. It wasn't on the jazz scene. I played. I went to college. I went to Manhattan Community College in 1970, and when I got there, I was in the same band. We're in the same music program with William Parker and this guy named Sam Brown Obasala. He had a big band. Also, Art Davis was there. So they started putting me on the bands. The head of the program was named Jeffries, so Leonard Jeffries, and he started putting me on gigs with Art Davis and what's the drummer? He ended up going to California. But I started doing some playing through him, and William Parker, and
it was like Ed Blackwell, or
oh man, what's the drummer? And then I was playing with a group Ensemble Al Salam, which had Alvin Queen was playing drums.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, before he left for Europe, and who else was in that band?
Yeah, I'm looking at.
There's an album called Elephant Trot Dance.
Elephant. This was a Art Davis album.
This was Ensemble Al Salams, a guy named Abdul Rauf.
Elephant. Say it again. Elephant what?
Elephant Trot.
Trot.
Like a trot, like a run, you know.
Oh my God! And you were. This is another album you were on.
Yeah, it's another album.
Khalik Al Rauf and Salam. This is so. This is 79 out of Switzerland.
Okay, 79. Wow.
I mean, at least that's when. That's at least when it was. Wow, one for sale for $124. All right, so I got a drummer here, Ron Anderson.
Oh, Ron Anderson played drums on there.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, you used to use another drummer live that ended up moving
Elephant
to Europe.
Trot Dance. I mean, you're opening me up. This is why I love doing this show, man. Because they're
Yeah.
so. I mean, you were playing in the Manhattan School, but did you actually wind up like having like your own band with some cats in the early '70s? And did you play like? Did you get ever a chance to play Slugs before it closed?
No, I never did. No, too bad. And I caught the Blue Cornet before it closed too. In fact, I saw Booker Irvin there with Woody Shaw. But yeah, they both closed before. I remember Slugs. I mean, there used to be jam sessions at Slugs. I didn't make it to, and also at Blue Cornet before they closed. You remember Blue Cornet, right?
Well, I mean, it's by the time I even was birthed was 1978. So this is all way before I was even born.
Yeah.
I'm trying to fill in. I mean, to me, it's like, you've become. I guess maybe you can talk about, and maybe educate me on the idea of how your career has evolved because, I mean, you've been playing with guys like Charlie Hunter. I noticed you playing on an album with him, and you've been, you become much more recognizable in the last, I'd say, 2 or 3 decades. But
I was kind of, when you talk about 1970, early 70, I did 1 year at Manhattan Community College. Yusef Lateef, I studied with him there. I took theory from Yusef, and then I went on the road. I went to a gig and never went back to school. I ended up on an R&B gig in Newport, Rhode Island.
Wow.
And that took me off the school track. But like 73.
Well, I mean, can you talk about? So this was more like soul R&B stuff.
Oh yeah.
A
guy named Freddie Spade.
Tell me about this band. I need to know about this band.
Oh yeah. It was me and the trumpet player that used to play together with the Latin Soul Drives and
this is so awesome.
And the LSD combo.
Combo.
Yeah, but we did LSD combo. We did a second record, and we came out. We did a single, and then the producer George Goldner, who you can find, he definitely had a connection there with Latin music. He died, so once he died, it's kind of like, I don't know. Then our band broke up, but before that, off the first record, we were touring. We were opening for Eddie Palmieri at the Red Garter, which turned into the Red Garter was before the Bottom Line, same club.
Can I ask you? Did you do any? Was this before Eddie did any of his prison tours? Did you open it?
Oh, wow! I didn't know that.
Yeah, if you look at, I mean, Eddie did Sing Sing and But anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt you. So you would open for him at the Red Garter, and
Eddie had Julian Priester, and Buddy Rogers wasn't on the gig anymore, but Julian Priester was playing.
Wow.
And Willie Rodriguez, who was always playing second trombone. There was 2 trombones. That was the sound, coming out of like Suka Pati, that Eddie period.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's not my pocket necessarily of music. I'm always familiar with like the more of the Jazz Crusaders, or even Art Blakey, Wayne Shorter, Curtis Fuller, or Wayne Henderson, Wilton Felder, the sax bone.
Oh yeah,
duo.
one of my first records was live at Lighthouse '66.
Oh, one of the first ones you ever got?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they did Scratch,
Monsters. I mean,
Yeah.
those Scratch, man. You listen to Eleanor Rigby on that, and Wayne Henderson's like just, I mean, he's just releasing everything in his body, man. It's just so awesome.
He's one of my heavy influences, I still like play his triplets, He would swing these triplets, throughout, like a whole chorus, The Freedom Sound is, I just got back to listening to that.
That's with him. I think that's like maybe his first album as a leader. I mean, his sound was. I'm just glad I got a chance to talk to interview him before he passed on. He was such a beautiful cat. You were playing, but you're telling me the Boogaloo Latin sound really had the definitive. It was double bones.
It was a lot of different in Latin salsa. The Eddie Palmieri. The thing that he's probably most famous for, that track called Azúcar, Azúcar para ti. Mm-hmm. That's the two-bone sound, in its height, And Barry Rogers, his soloing was kind of definitive for. It kind of shaped the sound of trombone in the Latin scene. So that was two bones, and that was, very strong period for Latin.
What was this? I mean, this soul funk outfit. I mean, in Rhode Island. I mean, please break that down for me. I mean, tell me how that came together.
Yeah, there was a club. Used to be a club on. See, I live in Bed-Stuy, right?
Uh-huh.
I kind of, grew up here in Brooklyn, and there was a club called the 521 Club, and it would be upstairs on Franklin and Fulton, and it was always like. Bands or artists playing would be like Bo Diddley Jr. or James Brown Jr. All these other cats would be kind of aping the cats that were more well known. So we would get up there and we'd be like kind of the house band, and it always ended up with a fight. The night would always finish off. It was a bucket of blood. The club. In fact, we used to play behind people like Freddie Scott and. Guys would come through there that had R&B charting songs, and we backed them. But it would always end up like, the gig would be over because guys would be fighting in the hallway or something, So this one guy, Freddie Spade, kind of took the band under his wing and started to do his own original material. So me and Greg, we got caught up into that, and then he said, "Oh, man, I got 2 weeks in Newport, Rhode Island, but you got to be in the union." So we go down and join the union for the gigs. We get to Rhode Island, and it's like a club, obviously gangsterish,
Mm-hmm.
Gangster club. We figured we got 2 weeks, so we leave school. He was in Brooklyn College, I was in Manhattan Community, and they put us in this house. No hotel, and we're playing 5 sets a night, And I'm saying union, okay, it's union. But then they tell us, oh, union scale here is $20 a night, and they take union work dues, they call it.
Sure.
So all of a sudden we're like, oh, hey, this is not working out like we hoped. So we do 1 week, and those cats are dropping acid like crazy. There are other cats in the band, except for the drummer. They're tripping there like every night. And we're playing this club, and one day we get stopped on the street walking down the street in Newport, and they said, somebody just robbed the cops. And it's like, somebody just robbed Western Union, and the guys look like you, and you. And so they take us to the precinct or whatever, and they put us in the cell, and the whole band is in there.
And those guys are all on acid. Oh my God.
So what happens, the club owner calls, it's like, I don't want to hear nothing. Those guys got to do 5 sets tonight. You better get them out of there. So we go back to the club, do the 5 sets. After a week of this, we're done. Me and Greg are like, I'm not going to do the second week for this. $20 a night, paying work dues, and, doing 5 sets. I was like, this is, So we left and we split. But from there, we kept, going. He ended up playing, an R&B band that was backing a group called the Main Ingredient.
Oh, sure.
Singer. So he went on the road with them. I started doing stuff around, like you saw the Brass Construction. I don't know if that was 78.
75, 76.
75,
I mean, I'm just trying to get to that first. I mean, especially if you're now questioning whether you ever did anything with Cowell. I'm trying
the Cowell thing. I've seen that come up, and I was like, no, man.
I mean, that needs to be corrected. This is ridiculous. I'm just trying.
Yeah,
I'm just trying. I mean, it also says Curtis Sonny Fowlkes, known mostly for his jazz, playing, and I'm just trying to figure out. Brass Construction's not jazz.
No.
The Rhode Island, thing was not jazz.
Yeah.
The Boogaloo thing was not jazz. I mean, obviously you're versatile, but did you, in the 70s, did you actually catch on with any jazz bands?
Well, actually, I got hired when 78 now, I guess, by Jazzmobile when President Carter started a program called CETA, Comprehensive Education Training Act. So they had money for the arts. I don't know if you ever heard about it. You were born then, I guess.
Well, I mean, we're lacking these things now, big time, but that's such a beautiful program.
Yeah. Jimmy Carter was instrumental in actually getting this act passed, and what they did was they gave funding to different agencies, and Jazzmobile was one, and they were funded to start a jazz big band. So a friend of mine got me to play. I actually ended up playing bass trombone because that's where the opening was, and so I got in the big band. Hammy Blewett was in the band. You know Blewett?
No, I don't.
Baritone player?
No.
Okay, he's with the World Saxophone Quartet. See, I was playing with more than I've seen. I was playing with more of the free avant-garde players actually coming up.
Who would they like Oliver Lake and those cats? Who are you referring to?
Yeah, like Oliver Lake, David Murray. They were all part of the World Saxophone Quartet. And I just mentioned that because that's one of Hammy Blewett, the baritone player's stronger visibility,
Sure.
But it was run by the Jazzmobile, but they gave the directorship of the band to Ernie Wilkins, who used to play with Count Basie.
Absolutely, great arranger, great player too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he led that band. That band had Hammy Blewett, Roland Alexander.
Wow.
A lot of musicians that were kind of like not dead on the radar, like Sam Bevins, a trumpet player. A lot of older cats, actually. Chip White played drums. Ronnie Boykins played bass.
Sure.
But then he OD'd. We played his funeral. And then John Orr took over on bass. So that was like a full-time funded job. It went from 1978 until middle of about 18 months. That's what. And they would cycle the employment. They would put another band together after 18 months. So I guess they give a variety of lengths of employment. But once Reagan got in, he cut it. Of course.
Of course he did. Can you talk? I mean, in our remaining moments here, Curtis, it's your birthday, and I just wanted you to talk about what you are still challenging yourself with today, musically, and any projects you have on the horizon.
Right. Okay. Well, I'm still working with the Jazz Passengers. We actually have a recording project that we hope to see through this year, and recording with Charlie Hunter on next week. Actually.
Oh wow! Tell Charlie I said hi, dude. He's a big fan of the Jake Feinberg Show. I had him on a couple months ago.
Oh yeah,
I love that cat.
Yeah. Charlie's fantastic.
Yeah, he's a good man.
Yeah, and also Liberation Orchestra has done a CD that's going to be out It was a live performance that Charlie was still, was on, and it's also 4 other tracks. I think at least 4 other tracks that we recorded.
You're talking about Charlie Hayden?
Charlie Hayden, yes.
Who else is in that group? Who?
Matt Wilson plays drums.
Sure.
Steve Cardenas on guitar. Michael Rodriguez on trumpet. Seneca Black on trumpet. Joe Daly on tuba. Vincent Chansey on French horn. Tony Malaby on tenor. And, oh man, where's my memory? Chris Cheek on tenor. And Lauren, come on, this last name. Oh, shit. Sorry.
It's fine. We're on a hard break here, and but I mean, we're gonna have to go back and hit this again down the road. I think we uncovered some very new stuff. And Curtis, I hope you have a beautiful birthday, man. And I'll try to get this out to you as soon as I can. This file.
Okay, Jake. Sorry, I didn't get too clear on some of those periods.
No, you did fine. I think we broke the whole point of my show is breaking new ground and new history. You did just fine.
Oh, okay.
All right, brother?
Well, good.
All right.
All right, Jake.
We'll be in touch, man. Good to hear you, man.
All right, good, man. Thanks for the opportunity.
Cheers, man. Happy birthday.
Okay, thank you.
All right. This is the Jake Feinberg Show, and we'll see you all next week.